division, that 135-pound division, to have a guy like you and Marlon go after it like that, that was a fucking great fight.
Thank you.
Really great fight. And you're like on top of it right now, man. It's really exciting to watch.
Yeah, I'm getting pretty good, you know?
Yeah, for real.
Like, I've really been just plugging up some holes, like figuring some stuff out. I feel like I'm at the part in the martial arts journey where I've gotten really good at being a really good learner. Like, I can learn super fast and super efficiently now. And it's like big time paying off. Like, not only that, but I also, the space I was in before that Chito fight was unlike one that I feel like I've ever been in my life.
How so?
You know, have you read like a decent amount of sports psych books?
Yes.
Where they'll sometimes talk about how you're almost having this out of body experience where you're almost like floating above the court or the field or whatever. It was almost like that, except I wouldn't use the word like floating above, but I got to a space in that fight where I felt like all of the thoughts and all of the distracting things that sometimes happen in a fight were completely ignored, and this like higher being, better version, like best no thinker, just actor was running the show. Like, it's almost like I was watching the thing happen while I was in the fight, and there would be bits of me hopping in and being like, hey, throw this combination, hey, take a little bit more of a risk, hey, do this, and then that would get completely just watched, and this whoever was fighting that night that didn't even feel like me was the person that was fighting. It was fucking cool, man.
Wow.
It was cool, dude. It was like, you know, like a psychedelic experience feeling type of thing.
Really?
It was cool.
What do you attribute that to? How did you get to that mindset?
It's a lot of, you know, messing stuff up. Like, I remember the last time I was on was right after I had beaten Frankie. And I was in, it's just a bunch of different parts of the journey. And in that part of the journey, I was really in this space where if I could make myself more war, if I could make myself more angry, if I could make myself be up here, I would have success. That kind of stopped working a little bit after, like around the TJ fight, and then kind of during the Jan fight, and then definitely I tried to be that guy against Song, and it was like too much of a distracting feeling, where now my mindset's going into the last fight, because it was such like a distracting feeling, just feeling like I have to get myself to a point of anger or upness before a fight where it just became distracting, where it was helpful before it became distracting in that Song fight. I bailed on that, and I just tried to be as mindful and as present as I possibly could. For like, and I know that those are like kind of corny words now, but there is some real substance to them when they're like really done well. And I would say maybe about 6 weeks before the fight, I had this moment where I was sitting on the couch because I put a lot of pressure on myself, and I want to be a world champ real bad. Where I was to the point where I wasn't enjoying any part of the camp, any part of the experience of fighting or anything. And I was sitting on the couch, and I just like, I think I was crying a little bit, and I was like, I can't fucking do this for the next 5 years of my life, you know, like I can't do this for the rest of my career. And I was like, well, what's got to change? And I was like, I got to take this pressure off of me, and I got to start enjoying every day a lot more than I am right now. And from that, like 6 weeks before the fight, I started doing that, and I really think that carried into the fight, and it made me be a lot less tense, a lot less tight, and it made me be able to fight with just like a completely free way of being.
Wow. And is this something that you had previously thought that you could get to that space or wanted to get to that space? Or is this something that you kind of experimented along the way and found this path?
I'm a self-learner, and I think that there's ways of being in life that like you just kind of have to be at certain times. Like when you're a young kid, like you have to be like going and hitting it hard. Like you have to remember all of the hundreds of thousands of people on the other half of the world that are trying to accomplish the same goal as you. And you have to be a little bit, in my opinion, you have to be a little bit on the neurotic side of like, am I doing every single thing correct? Am I doing Am I putting the right amount of pressure on me? That's totally a part of the journey, but I'm kind of more in the part of the journey where I've matured a lot as a fighter. I've matured a lot as a person. I'm getting married this year. Like I'm a little bit older. We're looking at kids probably in the next couple of years. And so I had to start thinking like, what's sustainable? Like what's like a sustainable way to continue doing what I love, but also becoming like a more mature adult. And that's just part of the journey that I'm in right now. And I don't think that anything was wrong with the way that I was doing before, but it just is like a moving target all the time. You know?
So it's like you're just finding new ways to approach it and then realizing this way's better than the other way. Even though the other way was effective, this is even more effective. So you're constantly trying to tweak it.
Yeah, and I think that everything kind of has its purpose. Like in those times where I was really embracing this like war mentality, this like very like bloodthirsty, vicious type of fighter that I was trying to be when I would go into the cage, that totally had its place because I had to experience what I thought that had to feel like in order for me to be the best martial artist that I can, because I do feel like I've pointed all of my energy in my life and my mind and my spirit and everything towards the direction of being the best martial artist that I can be. And so going through that had its purpose, man. Like I had to figure out what it was like for me to be like a vicious killer, you know, because in society that's like not cool, you know. So
Right.
like almost like the shadow self or whatever is like the subconscious term for it. I had to like experience that. I experienced it. I figured out that it was no longer serving me. It was being distracting. So what do I need to do now? Now it's like, okay, you figured that part out. You can be that guy whenever you want to be that guy, but now we're being present. Now we're enjoying it. And you don't really need to be that guy until you walk into the cage. And even when you do walk into the cage, you don't need to be this like really dramatic, super emphasized, like vicious guy. Like be that guy, but you don't have to overdo it. And when you're learning something, I almost feel like you have to completely overdo it in order to learn like where that cutoff is. Like even in technique, like if you could do an arm bar and win every single time with an arm bar, why would you ever stop doing arm bars?
Right.
It'd be stupid. So like you figure out how to like do something, way overdo it, figure out where the cutoff is and be like, okay, I can't do it in like those situations. You pull back, you figure out what situations you need to do it in, and then you move forward.
What was this? What happened? I lost. Can you hear me? My headphones cut out. Hold on. Check. Something happened over here, Jamie. I don't know what's going on, but I lost the headphones. We'll be right back, folks. Sorry about that.
Oh, that's okay.
So where were we at? So what was it about the other way you were approaching it? Where, you know, last time you were here, you had just embraced this idea that you went in there with the intention to fuck people up. What was distracting about that?
It's like a hot burning flame, you know, like I feel like it's I can only hold on to it for so long. Like I can't really like it's a lot of energy to be that up. And so when I would be in the back getting warmed up, because you don't know exactly when you're gonna walk, so I try to be ready, you know, like 20 minutes before. It's been like 30, 40 minutes warming up, trying to be that guy, and then for 20 minutes trying to sustain that guy, and that's like a long time to be that up, you know. So even in this fight, because there's no preparing for that last hour before you go walk. Like I don't care what type of guy you are, or how zen you can be, or how confident you are. That last hour before a fight, like your mind's gonna fuck with you a lot, and it's gonna go to you thinking that you're the god of the universe, to you thinking that like you're about to go get slaughtered. And in the back before, if I started to feel like I was, you know, having those like impulsive thoughts of like fear or you're about to go get slaughtered, I try to just cover that shit up real quick by getting like real pissed. And that's like a lot of energy to do. So before the Chito fight, I was super proud of the way that I was able to handle those feelings, because those feelings are like real as hell when you're in the back. And
How do you handle?
well, I just watched them, man. Like I just realized like, okay, like I'm having this sense of fear in me. And I would just kind of sit there and be like, okay, well, I'm not really fighting right now, so Just let the fear be there. Right now, your job is to get warmed up. And so I just took it, okay, right now I'm getting warmed up. Okay, they said 10 more minutes till we walk. Okay, I'm having the sense of fear still. That's okay. I'm still in the back. And then step by step by step, okay, I'm walking out now, cool. Okay, looking across from him, okay, touch gloves, now we're fighting. It's literally, it sounds super fucking simple, but it's just step by step by step, man. Just like, okay, I'm having that sense, I'll just watch that and not really acknowledge. I mean, you acknowledge it, but you don't, I don't try to cover it up, or I don't try to like be someone else. I just kind of watch it as if it was just someone else. It happening to someone else, and then just move on.
It doesn't sound super simple at all. Not to me, at least. I know what you're saying, and that feeling has got to be like riding a wild wave. Like you just got to maintain your balance. And to watch you go into that fight, what was so impressive, besides the fact that you're fighting a world-class guy in Marlon Vera, and you were controlling the action, was the overwhelming, like, the amount of information you were throwing at him. You were constantly changing levels, constantly threatening takedowns, constantly switching stances, and everything was, there's fighters kind of, sometimes they'll fall into a pattern, and you can kind of predict that pattern. There was no pattern with you. It was all over the place. And it was so overwhelming. When I was watching, I was like, Jesus Christ, like, this is so high level. And for like a casual, I don't know if they're seeing that. But for someone who watches a lot of fights and has been around martial arts, my whole life, when I was watching, I was like, this is about as high level as it gets.
Thank you.
Like, you were mixing shit up so well. Like, the way you were choosing your attacks, whether it was the low kick or whether it was punches and the switch stance to punches, the shot, it was amazing, man. It was really fucking good. It was really fun to watch because it wasn't just that you were doing that, but you were doing that for 5 fucking rounds. Like, you never varied, you never slowed down, there was never like breathers. It was just a full-on assault of all of his reactions and all of his ability to read you. It was like attack, bang, hit there, okay, trying to settle, boom, this coming in. Oh, now there's a shot. It was like there was no breaks.
Yeah, it was pretty awesome, man.
It was pretty fucking wild.
Yeah, it was pretty wild. I think that's always going to be one of my stronger points, is that I can make decisions a lot faster than other people. I honestly think that's what makes good people from great people, because good people can make the right decisions and continue to make them. But at some point, the person that's better at doing those things is going to surpass that person eventually. It might not happen early. It could take some time. And against some of the best guys in the world, it's going to take some time. But eventually, your processing speed will outpower theirs. And I think that I do that really, really well. I think that my training has a lot to do with that too.
What is different about your training?
So all of the conditioning that I do, or almost the conditioning parts that I take really seriously, are the sparring days. I used to like hit mitts real hard, and I still do like a strength and conditioning workout once a week. That's like, 30 seconds, minute rest, stuff like that. But there's no getting tired like there is getting tired in sparring. So I usually do 10-week camps. The first week I just knock the rust off, and then I do 2 7-round weeks. So we spar Tuesday, Fridays. I do 7 rounds those days, and then the next 2 weeks I do 8 rounds both of those days, and then I'll do like 6, and then the rest of them 5 because I want to get used to 5. But in those 7-round weeks and those 8-round weeks, those are hard as fuck, man. I try to get so tired where I'm just like, I don't feel like I can make decisions anymore. And I really think that having the concentration to focus for those 40 minutes makes it way easier for me to focus in the 25 minutes. I don't really know if that's science or not, but I definitely think that if I can stay focused for 40 minutes, 25 minutes will feel like nothing. So I really push myself there.